Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. We have family and friends in the room, so this is going to be fun and a little informal. So I hope everyone's ready to enjoy themselves, have some fun, talk about yourselves. My name is Lisa Bird, and I work with Forklift Danceworks. And we thank you for joining us for this virtual session with Planet Texas 2050, the artists and scientists who are connected with Planet Texas 2050. And as you know, because you signed up, we're exploring the creative process behind the Way of Water Colorado River, which is the latest spectacle production presented by Forklift Danceworks, and is this is the we have not completed this project. This project is in process. And Forklift, if you don't know, is an Austin-based arts organization that presents work that really highlights the movement of workers and around civic issues that impact not only Austinites, but we create and produce projects around the world. So we're doing this project, Way of Water Colorado River, in partnership with scientists from the University of Texas at Austin, specifically the Freshman Research Initiative Stream in Urban Ecosystems. And Way of Water Colorado River is, this project is a part of, as I said, a more global performance series. Well, the performance series taking place this fall in Austin, and it's designed to raise awareness and, more than anything, spark action around water and the environmental challenges facing Austin and the Central Texas region, specifically around water. So, but what we're doing now is we're going to have a conversation about how art and science kind of can come together and address the issues and maybe initiate action based upon that. So I want to introduce for our panelists. Um, we have Stuart Reichler. I hope I pronounced your last name right, Dr. Stuart Reichler. Uh, he is a biologist at UT, and we have the chemist, Dr. Ruth Scheer, with us. Thank you, Ruth. Good to see you. And ecologist, Dr. Mary Poteet. And our artist on the panel is Allison Orr, founder and artistic director of Forklift Danceworks. And I think we're going to start with each person really just saying, really just a little thing about themselves. And of course, we want to acknowledge all of you who have come to join us today for this conversation. We want to try to make this as interactive as you want it to be. So as our panelists say a little bit about themselves, we would like you to contribute a little bit about yourself in the chat so we know who's in the room and kind of why this is of interest to you. So I'm going to start with Stuart, and we'll go Stuart, Mary, and Ruth, and then we'll end up with Allison. If you can talk about just very succinctly what motivates you to do the work that you do, kind of like your principles and your values, and tag onto that the single most important thing you want people to know about the work you do. Why would it be important to me or to them or to anybody in the room? So Stuart, you want to take that?
Sure. I'll try to be brief. It's hard for me. Um,
Okay.
so
This is brief, Stuart.
I know. Okay. So I guess I consider myself an environmental scientist. I didn't start that way. I was doing plant molecular biology for a long time. I've been teaching for over 25 years here at UT. I've always been interested in issues around the environment. Really, that coalesced that was a class I took as an undergraduate with a professor named Barbara Brower, which is about environmentalism. Um, even though people are interesting to me, I find the rest of the world, frankly, more interesting than people. There are so many complex interactions. There are so many amazing, fascinating, interesting organisms out there, that as I was sort of going through my career as an academic here at UT and had some opportunities to get more professionally involved in trying to understand these interactions and understand a lot of these different organisms. That's what really drew me into environmental science. Um, Humanity is certainly at something of a crossroads. I guess we'll really know more in 50 or something years from now, but we're, seemingly at some sort of crossroads where we've made some pretty big changes to the planet, and we're going to find out if how well and or if we can survive what we've done to the planet. Um, Many of the rest of the organisms will be totally fine without us. Um, it's a question of our human survival and what that human survival looks like. Um, with the forklift, part is I really like doing things that are fun, professionally and non-professionally. I'm very attracted by fun. I've done some other art and science mixtures before. And so when we got approached to do this, it seemed like just a great thing to try to engage our students, to try to engage the public. And since we work in urban areas, we're not ecologists that go out to like deepest, darkest Peru to collect our data. We collect our data here in Austin, um, to try to get more people to understand and interact and appreciate the organisms that we share our cities with is a really important message for me.
Thank you, Stuart. Mary, you're next up on my screen, so
All right. Well, thank you. Um, I would like to add on to what, agree with Stuart about the aspect of the work that we do
what the
that
fun part?
well, yeah, to have fun, but also to translate that fun over to thinking about creating spaces in an urban environment that we enjoy and have fun in, right? And so I started out as an ecologist, I think as a child, looking at interactions of things and ended up continuing that for my PhD, where I worked in the Cascade Mountains in Oregon on stream ecosystems and amphibians, and it was beautiful, and I could just lay out there and think. And then I get to Texas and I'm thinking, well, but there are all these creeks here who that really need help. They're these beautiful spaces that are that contain wildlife, and I feel that the more we can understand about how those streams function. So I'm really interested in how the streams produce energy, like primary production, and how they survive. What does that primary production mean for supporting the ecosystem around those creeks? And I think that part of what drives me to really work on these urban creeks, which I will admit are really not as nice as working in the Cascade Mountains, um, is that we have I feel like we have a responsibility to care for the ecosystems in which we live, and that by translating that information to students who we work with, who most of them are pre-meds and are never thought about doing ecosystem work ever, by translating that information to people who will not be in the environmental sciences and who will carry this ethos with them, and to translate it through Allison's work of taking our science and translating it into the community, that my hope is that we can engage people to understand what a precious gift we have in Austin.
Thank you, Mary. Ruth, you want to tackle this question? What motivates you to do the work you do?
Sure. G'day everyone. I'm the token Australian on the panel. I've been teaching at UT for 29 years, and have always loved the environment, being outside in it, but I really hadn't studied it. I was a physicist, I became a chemist, and now finally I'm becoming an environmental chemist. And this whole program that we do, the Freshman Research Initiative, involves our incoming first year students in doing real research. Research is the most fun part of science, and a lot of kids never get to do it. They get turned off science before they get that far. So I'm really and most people of this new our students generation do have an appreciation, understanding that the environment's important, but really mostly have not studied it. So to me, this is a great way to teach students scientific methods, but applying them directly to, they don't have to sit in the lab. We teach them a method and then they go down the hill to the creek and collect a sample. So our students love that they're outside all the time, or a lot of the time. Then they come back to the air conditioning to run their samples. They love that the work that we do has direct influence on their world. They can, all scientists say what we do is important, but they see, we talk to the Sea of Austin, we talk to people working out in the water, we talk to Riverwatch and stuff, and they see that what they're doing has a direct, clear impact on everybody. And so I sort of came into this from the education point of view. I love teaching. I want to find fun ways to teach. As Stuart said, we've done a lot of things with art. We've never done anything with dance. We also did some stuff with music once. So yeah, more fun and any way to educate the public more. I mean, scientists are really bad at connecting with the public, and there's a large preponderance of the public who are apprehensive about science. They don't believe it. They think we have ulterior motives, and it's a lot of that is our fault, is we don't engage enough. We don't explain ourselves well. And so any opportunity to do that, I'm all for it.
Great. And the thing that really really rings for me when talking with the three of you is how fun is at the center of what you do. And that's really great. Before we move on to Allison, I just wanted to acknowledge a few of the folks who have joined us. Susanna, I think is correct. She is here because the art, science, and ecology are my favorite things about life. That's great. Molly, thanks, is a big fan of Forklift and have been for many years. Thrilled about the topics you are exploring with this series. When I'm with Forklift, I feel more connected to my community. That's a beautiful sentiment. Jonathan, always interested in science, art collaborations. I love Forklift, Danceworks, and Austin Streams and Creeks. So there seems to be like a natural kind of combination happening here. Valerie, I'm founder and president of South Austin Creek Alliance. Neglected Creeks is our jam. All right, Valerie, good to see you. Thank you for coming and joining us. Rosemary, thank you. Rosemary is a performer, and she's going to be part of our performance of Colorado River. Thank you for joining us today. Allison, where are you, Allison?
Oh, everywhere, all the time. Charlotte. Yes, my dear.
I just want to say one thing or two things before we go on. Back 100 years ago, not quite, in the 70s, which some of you remember, it used to be the College of Arts and Sciences. It's now liberal arts and natural sciences, but I got a degree in both. So I think they go together. I think there's just absolutely no question. And I think that something that really links both of them is infrastructure. And part of the reason I'm drawn to Forklift and what Allison does is that the people that make up the infrastructure of our lives, who are largely unseen, she recognizes and brings to the forefront. And it's like, to me, it's absolutely incongruous. Well, it's not incongruous to separate arts and sciences. They're so much a part of each other. So I don't know if that's archaic thinking or what, but I just want to
thank
throw
you
that
for
out there.
Thank you for sharing. Allison, can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about just a little bit about your background and but I think what everyone needs to know is what is this thing that we're talking about? What are we talking about? The Way of Water, Colorado
Yeah.
River.
I thought you were going to say, why does everybody needs to know about my costume?
Well, I thought that would be revealed as time goes on.
No,
She is a choreographer,
I
but
am a
she's now
choreographer. We're gonna go on the river today, and I was saying, you all, this harkens back to my seventh grade run for student council, where I had an Abraham Lincoln hat as part of my speech, which I did not win. But anyway, I'm all about theater. So welcome. Thank you, Lisa, and scientists in Plant Texas, Heidi. Thank you so much for being our champion in so many ways. And thank you all for being with us so we get to learn with you and together with you about this really uh, this topic of water in the Colorado and rivers. I mean, it's a life, if not a universal project. It's not a project for a year. So, but I am learning and so thrilled to be in collaboration with Stuart, Ruth, and Mary with our full artistic team. And again, Rosemary Candelario is part of that. And by the end, you'll hear what she's going to be up to with these scientists later in October at Laguna Gloria. Um, so, as many of you all know, it sounds like I have a background in anthropology and public health, but always danced. And I think of myself as a community-based artist, as you've heard. And so I make work with Lisa and our team at Forklift with, by, for, and in collaboration with community. And I like to think that I get to work with the experts. So, for example, I was really interested in working around the topic of waste and trash. So I embedded within Austin Sanitation Department for a couple years, and we created a performance together, my team and I, with the sanitation workers, to really demonstrate the beauty and the skill in the work, but also the issues. What are the issues that we, and particularly the frontline employees who work with trash, know? So this topic we are now working on for a number of years is water. And in Austin right now, we're focusing on the Colorado. And so we reached out to Stuart, Ruth, and Mary because, as Charlotte and others have echoed, scientists and artists are basically the same. We're all about curiosity. We're all about a question. I just like to say scientists do a lot better with failure than artists do. It can be very much more painful when we fail. When scientists experiment is fail, it's like, oh, cool, now I learned something. And yeah, we don't like to fail. But anyway, so I've long been working with scientists for many, many years through Wesleyan University and other places. And yes, I feel like if I weren't identified as an artist, I would call myself a scientist. It's all about curiosity, research, getting out the world, and studying what you notice, studying what's happening all around us. So this project about the Colorado River is bringing together you all, not just these scientists, but also other stewards of the Colorado, in particular, Austin water utility employees. As you're soon going to know, the Colorado, our Colorado in Texas, is our single source of drinking water for Central Texas, for the city of Austin, not the aquifer, it's the Colorado. We're also working with youth through Colorado River Alliance, birders. So we're going to talk about birds and from Travis Audubon, and fly fishermen and other individuals who live around and care for and work on the river. So I think what I'd like to do is start. Is that all right, Lisa, that I start? Um, are we good for me to start my little part?
Well, hold on one second.
Yeah,
Can you just describe in a little more detail
sure.
kind of what the project is about?
Okay. So we're calling this the Way of Water Colorado River, a performance in three parts. And we've designed it to be in three parts because the river is complex, and the story of the river, well, we can't just tell it in a single performance. We really can't even tell it in the next 2 months. But we're offering a variety of opportunities for people to connect with the Colorado and understand our very deep and connected relationship with it through movement, through performance, through storytelling, through a scavenger hunt, through hearing the stories and expertise of frontline employees and others like Stuart, Ruth, and Mary who study the Colorado and the creeks, its creeks and tributaries. The idea is that we will deepen our relationship to the river and also learn how we can be better stewards of it. What are the issues confronting the river right now? And as you've been following anything in the news in Texas, you know that water and access to, we're out of water as a state. We don't have enough water for our planned population increase. And it is being talked about at all kind of sectors of the state right now, which is good. Um, but so we're offering a series of events and kind of artistic explorations of the topic with the people, the community members who really know about it. Did I answer, Lisa, or say anything else you'd like to
No,
say?
no, that's perfect. And so
Great.
and so you want to, before we get more engaged in conversation with Stuart, Mary, and
Yeah.
Ruth, and with those who are here, you want to set the tone for us, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. And so I'd like us to put on your river clothes. I did put my whole river outfit on for you today, even my river shoes, even though you can't see them. Uh, and so I've got my hat on, and I've noticed river people have certain accoutrements. They have certain ways that the fishermen, and I know you scientists have accoutrement too. I've seen it with you. You have ways of dressing and preparing to go beyond the river. But I wanted to share, I just wanted to take us down the river here for a minute. I'll talk for a few minutes after, but I'd like for us just to get on the boat. Uh, can we see this all right? Is it full screen?
No, it is not full screen.
Oh, of course. Hold on a second. Let me try again. This is always the thing is the okay, we're gonna do this. Hmm. Hold on a second, y'all.
Take your time.
Okay, it's always the tech, isn't it? Always the tech. All right, I'm going this more awkward way. So Lisa and I had the honor a couple weeks ago to go out on the river on your Colorado with a fly fisherman and master fisherman named Alvin Dudeau, who's part of our project. And here's a little footage.
And this is the Colorado River south of where? Is this
We got on at Little Weberville Park
right?
and we're traveling up towards the city of Austin. You all said this is like, 25 minutes, 30 minutes from downtown. This is the east of the Pleasant Valley Longhorn Dam. And I just want you to have a minute to take it in. It's just right around the corner. Something I've been doing a lot lately is reading people who write about rivers. And one thing I love is when Robert McFarland says, running, we are rivers, sitting, we are pools. The Colorado is actually in all of us, literally. We drink it every day here in Austin. So you are the Colorado. Your cells are the Colorado. Your coffee is the Colorado. And here's the Colorado. And so just take a moment and notice your body in the chair. Notice how you're feeling this morning. Notice your feet on the floor or maybe your back against your chair. You might notice how you feel sitting on the boat here with Alvin. You might imagine what you might be smelling. Maybe it's a little exhaust of the boat, or maybe it's a little of that river water, that river smell. You know what I'm talking about when you're
Yeah.
out on that river?
Yeah.
And I tried, didn't get it all, but we saw such bird life.
I was going to say the one thing that that this isn't capturing is the birds, and even Alvin showed us an eagle's nest.
So there is this massive ecosystem
Liz,
complex.
Lizette, I wish I was there now as well.
Yep. Peaceful, not peaceful, moving quickly, moving slowly, changing every day. You can never stand in the same river twice. You literally can never stand in the same river twice. Right, Mary? The river is always different. And that's the other thing I'm learning from river people is all rivers are is constantly change, which is what we are in right now, a grand period of transition, a great transition, but that is what our constant is and will always be is change.
So I'd like
So
to,
I'm done.
okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Allison. I'd
Mhm.
like to ask the folks if you would just put in the chat or pipe out whenever you feel like what is your own relationship to the Colorado River? What do you fish? Do you paddleboard? Do you canoe? Or do you just go sit by the river? Or do you not at all do anything with the river? But while you're thinking about that and writing that in, um, so Mary Stewart and Ruth, you kind of talked a little bit in your introduction about kind of what drew you to this collaboration. Um, so what are you hoping to get out of this? What does this mean for you and the work that you're doing? And add to that just kind of a little more scientific background information about the issues around the Colorado River and how this project might address that. So that's a lot in there. So we'll start with you, Ruth.
Okay, so I mean, we've already said we were doing it for fun,
Right.
but also as an opportunity to communicate to the public about what we're doing. Always take the opportunity to explain things. Um, Allison said something about how we are used to failure, that things fail all the time, and that's okay. Another aspect of that, a lot of the students who work with me, we use chemistry to detect pollutants in the water. And every time we design a new experiment and we go, it's working, we can see the pollutants. Oh, that's terrible. It's like our success is discovering yet another thing that is in our water that we wish it was not there.
So Ruth, I'm going to, because this remains number one in my mind from our initial conversation with you about what's in the water that cannot at this point be removed through the filtration systems that are existing. And so if you might want to share that bit of information with folks, that would be
I
great.
think that people assume that the wastewater treatment plants take in the water with whatever it's got in it and removes all the bad stuff and just gives us pure water out the other side. And unfortunately, our wastewater treatment plants do not do that. And so there are many things that get in the water that used to be, I mean, scientists knew about this tiny, so tiny amounts it doesn't matter. But because they're not removed, we drink them again and we excrete them again, and they just keep going through the water, and those levels are getting higher and higher. And I believe what I was talking to you about, Lisa, was the medications,
Right.
the pharmaceuticals that we take. Our body uses a lot of them, but what we don't use, we excrete, and so it keeps coming back to us. And we don't have personalized medicine. We're not all given the dose that our body needs. We're given the dose that'll work for everyone, which means there's a lot of excess. But even worse is when people dispose of their pharmaceuticals by flushing them. That makes it even worse. So yeah, that's one of the many, many things that people don't think about are in our water that are not removed.
So I'm going to hold that there. And Allison, I'm going to ask you as an artist and as you are putting together this artistic project, when you hear something like that, when you hear this issue, how do what is your process in taking that information and retelling it in an artistic, theatrical way?
Well, that's it. That's the challenge. That's the opportunity. So I'll back up a little bit. One reason Austin Water Utility wanted to work with us on this is that they are doing a generational investment in the Walnut Creek wastewater plant to improve the filtration process. What Ruth is talking about are these forever chemicals, right, Ruth? Are these chemicals that are at a level that even our current technology of wastewater treatment doesn't address, can't address fully. And these are going all around the world, right? They're going all around the world. So I just want to reiterate, this isn't something Austin. It's our global wastewater treatment processing and how these tiny little tiny chemicals, I'm imagining, Ruth, get in and stay in.
And it's not just in urban areas. They're in, over 90% of the waterways across the country. So even in pristine water lakes in the top of the Rocky Mountains, you
They're
can
there.
detect them. Yep.
So there's an issue, right? And I mean, we can certainly say, don't flush. We're going to be saying, don't flush nothing down the toilet except toilet paper. That's the only thing that goes down the toilet. The only thing, because everything you flush down the toilet comes back to us through our drinking water. It will, and into our river.
Not only don't flush it when you're going hiking in the wilderness, pack out all your trash, but also pack out what your excretions. Otherwise, they get into those beautiful, pristine waterways. You bet.
Yes, and pick up your dog poop. So what I would say is what I'm doing, I would sit with Ruth in this particular issue, Lisa. I would sit with Ruth. I would listen to Ruth. I would go to lab with Ruth. I would follow Ruth around, which is this ethnographic process that we do with the frontline personnel, that we do with all of our collaborating partners, with Alvin. That's why we went on the water, is we want to be in Alvin's shoes. And then my team's job, along with Rachel and Cecilia and the choreographers that are working with me on this project, is then to translate that information in a way where the ordinary person can get it in about 3 minutes. So what I'm looking for is the heart of the matter, and then how I can communicate the heart of the matter in a creative way that could use poetry, could use movement, could use song, could use media design. That's the part I went to school for. That's the part I study as a choreographer. Again, how do I translate the research into a creative modality that then can hold people's attention for a short amount of time? And again, what I'm always bearing in mind is the human being who's delivering the information. So I do find with scientists that if I can humanize them, people hear the message. And that's a process. So one more thing about that, worked with a meteorologist in Miami in this year. Lisa knows this, John Morales. He actually went viral last year during the Milton hurricane, when it moved from like a 3 to a 4 or a 4 to 5 very rapidly, and he teared up. And I don't know if y'all remember, but all this was, Rolling Stone wrote about it, New York Times, he wrote an op-ed. And so with John, I asked him to talk to me about what it feels like to have this information, to watch this happen. What is it for John when he knows this, or his responsibility to his viewers to protect their lives? So again, he did a solo in the show where he partially gave a weather report and partially turned around, and you heard him in a pre-recorded interview talk about what it feels like to do this work. And so again, I'm letting you have a personal experience in an artful, creative way of the individual who's the expert. And so that's the tactic, Lisa.
So thank you. Thank you for that. And I think we've had several questions about how that actually happens, and I hope that addresses. I want to go back to Mary, to the scientist, and Mary, just as you think about, I mean, Ruth gave us an issue that that Forklift could address. As you think about your work, do you think as a scientist that you bring your own creativity and artistic sense to what you do?
I think science is creativity. And I think that one of the things we talk to our students about is how important it is to be curious, and then how important it is to be creative and think through problems, problem solve, but also take, take the literature and be creative to think about how do we move this science forward? Where's our next step? And that has to use creativity. And actually, I want to get back to a little bit of the question of why did we want to be part of this process and what did we hope to bring to it? And
Sure.
I can tell you, when someone told me it's Forklift Danceworks and I went back to Trash Dance and thought about that, I have been just so incredibly curious about that experience and interested in how that works for so long. I mean, I saw it when it first came out. I was like, yeah, that's me. Take me, I'll do it. So I was really excited about that. And I think some of the biggest issues to then bring to bear on in the way of water are to think about the amount of water we're going to have in the future, because beyond just water quality, we need to think about water quantity. And my research is, I'm a scientist, so here I am trying to explain it, which we've just talked about how we don't communicate well. So, but
Go for it.
yeah, my science, I would say, is little, right? So it's one of the little pieces of the bigger puzzle. And what our group does, I have 4 teams. One team is really interested in how urban heat island impacts the thermal regimes of creeks. Like, what are we doing to our creeks and how is this going to affect the ecosystem? Another team is asking how does all this leaf organic matter, all the organic matter from the city, from our non-native plants and your grass clippings that happen all year long, how does that impact what's happening in the creek and producing nutrients in the creek? How do all these floods that we're now experiencing with climate change, what's that going to do to the primary productivity in creeks? So I have all these little tiny questions in small creeks that will sort of increase and be perceived in the larger Colorado River, right? Because all these little creeks, the energy production, the ecosystem, the temperature is all going to flow into the Colorado River and potentially impact what happens with ecosystems there. So I think thinking about flooding, thinking about infiltration, thinking about how much water we're going to have in the future, and kind of understanding what that means for the persistence and resilience of these rivers is really important. That.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And so then the question, I think, Allison, a part of your goals, you might want to talk about Forklift's goals for taking this project on, and seeing where that aligns with the scientific goals, or even beyond scientific goals, because even, what are issues the community itself can participate in solving.
Absolutely. And I'll just say to our farrier, to Cecilia,
Cece.
to Cece, like, how do we motivate people? We work to motivate people through joy and love. Like, mostly we work to motivate people not through feeling bad. And there is a ton to feel bad about right now. And so that is part of our value at Forklift, is to really lead with joy and notice really what we love about the river. What do we love about our river? And if we can lead with that, I do think then making the harder decisions become easier to do. The actions, the sacrifices, the change and the adaptation we as humans need to engage in. Before I get to your question more specifically, Lisa, I do want to say we have a science artist and a collaborator also on the Zoom, Raquel Bryant, who is one of our partners at Wesleyan, who's also a jazz musician, and she's an oceanographer, paleontologist. And we were just saying, Raquel, that art and science naturally go together, but scientists, I like to say, are not trained storytellers.
Yeah.
And so our job as artists is to support scientists to make their message more accessible to the public. So anything you want to share there, and then Lisa, will go back to your question.
I do want to just say that, as you know, I identify as like a geoscientist and a geologist, and one of the things that I tried to like impress upon like, you know, fifth graders and middle schoolers when I talk to them is that geoscience itself is a storytelling science. And the fact that we're bad at telling stories means like, I'm like, how good are we at our science? Our science is about telling stories. So it's one of the things I'm trying to hold central in my practice as an artist and a scientist, because I feel like that's an overlap that is just right there in my face. Like, I'm studying past climates. I'm trying to tell stories, you know? So mixing that with my own narrative and making sure like even my own personal story. So I love how you talked about that, Allison, because I think my personal story supports my science, and the science is because of my personal story, right? So that's all I'll say about that. Yeah. Thanks
Welcome,
for
Raquel. Raquel's in Denmark.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing some research, but anyway, thank you for being part of the team today, the family. Okay, Lisa, what was your question again?
I don't remember now. I don't remember, but we can move on. It's great to
Yeah.
see you, Raquel. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna circle back to Stuart in a minute because I've been kind of perusing the chat, and Stuart is suggesting a north-south river tug of war to so we might have to like add that as as an activity in the scavenger hunt. But anyway, so Stuart, where are you, Stuart? So has anything surprised you, Stuart, about this collaboration? I mean, when Allison first approached, there's much
Yes,
admin.
I am okay, maybe this one's weird and not what you're looking for.
Okay, but
I'm amazed at Allison's um ability to talk almost anybody into doing almost anything. So so I've known Ruth for going on, well, 18 years now, I think. And she's convincing Ruth to play instrument, which Ruth talks about, but I've never actually heard her play any musical instrument. And Mary and I are going to be doing a duet, a dancing duet. I don't know if I should say this out loud, but I hate dancing. I got in big trouble at my daughter's quinceañera by like stopping to dance before the song was over. It was a really long song. Uh, I just gave up at some point. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. So somehow Allison has talked Mary and I into some sort of scientific ballet that we'll be doing on the 18th. That's been the most surprising thing for me, which I feel like is not what you were trying to ask me.
No, actually,
That
no,
is
that's perfect because now I'm going to say it to Allison to really, because I think that for those who aren't familiar, those who are on and aren't familiar with really the forklift process, is that they're not professional dancers dancing or professional actors performing. It is actually the scientists and the Austin Water employees and community members who are performing. And it's beautiful. And so Mary, any hesitation, any thoughts?
I actually have no hesitation. I love dancing. So I don't have a hesitation about dancing. I'm sort of when we were told that it would be a duet, I described it to my friends as like a scientific synchronized water swimming dance thing. And so I think they're all going to come to try to check this out. But I I guess my hesitation, what kind of I think the thing that I'm trying to get over is as a scientist, these are not the pieces of equipment that we would necessarily use to be sampling right in this spot, So it's like I I have to think about the interpretation and the storytelling and what it is that we're trying to convey to people in a way that an artist is going to be much better at saying, maybe that would be a better tool here, but it's not going to be it's not going to be, it's not going to capture people's imaginations. So that's been
The big takeaway.
the big thing that
That,
I'm taking away
Yeah.
and learning. Yes.
well,
So,
that's the same thing I would say that I've worked with a lot of engineers. And when I was working with the line workers at Austin Energy, when working with them, again, it was all about translating the key idea. And I remember in one thing, they're like, well, we're going to just leave that pole sitting over. I mean, it'll look silly to us, but it's art. So that idea that yes, we are doing theater. So some things are not, we use some artistic license to make this thing because we aren't keeping people for 6 hours. I thought I would just share really quickly just these couple photos of us in the field with Mary and Stuart and Ruth so you can see. So this piece is going to happen on October 18th at Laguna Gloria. And in just a few minutes, Heidi's going to share a link where you can get reservations. This is free. Of course, we're going to do it's going to be an immersive tour through Laguna Gloria. But here you see Asia, one of our UT choreographers, who's I'm a UT alum from the BFA program at UT. Rachel Nair, Mary is out
we're
there.
not
So,
really seeing the full photo.
huh? Is it better now?
No,
No,
we just see your bar, your
What
options.
the hell?
yeah,
What's
there's
coming
a
now?
black
Oh,
screen at the
Okay, hold
um
on. Let me try again.
I'm while Allison is working
Yeah,
on this,
keep talking.
I have one last question, and I'd like everyone to chime in on the chats or whatever. What kinds of actions or conversations do you think this project might spark in the community? So after you've heard kind of what's happening, what are your hopes? How do you think people might respond in terms of the issues that will be explored around the Colorado River?
And can you see it now, Lisa?
No, there's like this black.
Okay, I'm gonna keep trying.
Okay. So so if anyone who is willing to jump on and turn the mic on and say, um, so we have someone who says increased awareness about the importance of our waterways is a takeaway that they would like to see. Anyone else? Any thoughts?
I'm excited about the scavenger hunt. I think this is a way to engage the public between our two performances.
Yeah.
The sort of things I'm hearing are going to be in the scavenger hunt will really engage people who want to do the scavenger hunt to learn all sorts of things about the water.
Yes, I think the scavenger hunt really is meant as a fun educational tool, and really, especially for those who may not be really connected to the river and have an opportunity to really build a relationship there. How are we doing, Allison?
I'm almost there.
So Molly says awareness that inspires action. And someone had said earlier something about citizen scientists. And we did a project in Miami, uh, Way of Water, Miami, last winter. And it was nice to be in Miami in the winter, by the way, just so you know. But one of our partners was at Florida, was at FIU, and she ran a citizen scientist research project and had monthly gatherings of folks, just everyday folks who would go out and do water quality testing. So Valerie, I don't know if that's something that you were referencing.
Yeah, sorry, my camera's not working, but
That's all
yes.
right.
Things like that I think are really great ways to get the community involved and more aware of what's going on in their areas.
Thank you. And so is there a citizen scientist group happening that you are participating with now?
Currently, I haven't seen anything except for my organization and we get involved in iNaturalist things, and they do stuff like the Bio Blitz. There's a pollinator Bio Blitz that's coming up soon. So that's all that we're working on as far as citizen scientist stuff. I mean, we do a lot of cleanups, but
Right.
nothing
And
research.
yeah, and one of our partners, Alvin, who is a fly fisherman, he sponsors an annual Colorado River cleanup as well. And
Can you all see
then
this? Natalie,
yes,
so sorry.
yes.
So
Go.
just really quickly, you all, so what's going to happen on October 18th at Laguna Gloria? And essentially, this is the idea. Mary and Stuart are who they are and do what they do. Asia and Rachel were with them in the field with Ruth, watching, interviewing them, seeing it, and then together they create basically a short dance that shows this work. But the idea is that you get an insider look at what it takes to do this work, and that you get more of that human story, that human context behind it, that then will motivate you to learn more about the impact of the work, the reasoning for the work. So that's the idea, is to lead with the story, expertise, movement that is naturally there coming out. Again, this is why I want Ruth to play an instrument, because I want you to know scientists are humans too. And it puts you in a frame of mind to then learn. And so this is what's happening, if that helps. And I know that somebody had said, what does your day-to-day look like? It's these kinds of things of being in community with the experts to understand how we can tell that story to the wider public.
Allison, and I don't know if my connection's bad, so I might turn off my video so you can hear me better. But just what you said about like flipping roles, I started a band with some of my students, and they are music people, they are producers, they're like film people, and we made a music video like in my office, and like I was 100% the 2T. Like I knew nothing about lighting and camera angles, and then the next semester, one of those students took a course, and even with me, and even just having that experience of having a different learning dynamic, I could tell they were able to like get more out of the course, because they didn't see me as like this scary scientist that knows everything. They're like, oh, I had to teach her how to hold a camera and how to like level a mic. Like there's stuff that I have to teach her, even though she's like has a PhD. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that little vignette.
Great. Thanks. So we have about 2 minutes left. Just quickly going to run through, and Allison, you want to just wrap us up with what Way of Water, Colorado River, what people can do to come to the show, get the scavenger hunt. We hope that everyone here will do the scavenger hunt and come to the show.
Yeah, can you all see this on your screens? Okay, so Heidi just put a link in a chat. She'll put the link again. First of all, we're always fundraising. Everything we do is free. So if you've got a couple bucks, support us to support this project. But there are, if you go to this web link again, which Heidi put in the chat, you can currently get your free reservations now for the October 18th at Laguna Gloria event that your scientists here will be a part of. The park, we are encouraging people to not arrive at a distinct time because there's not much parking. Ride a bike, take the bus. But there'll be a self-guided tour that'll be running in between Um, it kind of between 12 and 2:30 or
2, yeah,
so. Yeah.
yeah.
So come at 11, get sorted, get signed up, get the map, get it on your phone, and then guide yourself around the park and hear and see performances from scientists, your Buto artist, Rosemary Candelario, who was here and had to go, birders, and others. The scavenger hunt launches that day via this app. But again, you can follow this page or sign up for our email list, which you can do on this website. And then the big performances are November 6th, 7th, and 8th at Hornsby Bend. And those tickets, those free tickets will release later in October. But you can learn more here. Please sign up for our email list and give us a little money if you got some extra to spare today.
So I want to thank Mary, Stuart, and Ruth for joining us today. Raquel, thanks for zooming in from across the Atlantic. We're very excited about Way of Water Colorado River. We hope all of you are, and we hope that this discussion kind of opens up some ideas and some questions and curiosity for you, not only about the project, but about the Colorado River and how we can help sustain and keep the Colorado River alive and running. I want to again thank Heidi and all the folks at Texas 2050, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you all for coming out. Good to see old friends again. Hope to see you in Austin. I'll be in Austin soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. That was fun.
Yes.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to it.
See you,
Thank you all.
CC.
See you,
Hey,
Cece. Thank you,
Bird.
Molly.
We'll
Thank
be
you,
getting together,
Molly.
girl.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sarah. Oh, my mom was here. Stuart, it's my mom who taught me how to talk anybody into doing anything. She's the master if you need classes.